Am I hosting a drag show? Is that what's happening? All right, so next we're going to see, very importantly, we're going to see a story being enacted right before your very eyes. Mystical and magical and unbelievable feats of sorts. Here we have Cabby Malone. All I have to say about him is, yeah, all I have to say about him is best mustache ever. Who wants a mustache ride from Cabby? Well, you'll have to ask permission. Of course. All right, speaking of which, we've got Miles Long. Notoriously lengthy man. We've also got Lala. Okay, and I'm going to take this bourbon and head out into the audience and let them come out and do their thing. Come on out, you guys.
I stepped out of the yellow cab, gave the cabbie her fare and a $5 tip. As she pulled back into the flow of traffic, I walked up to the hotel. I glanced at my watch. It was 12 a.m. After entering the building, I headed across the plush lobby to the elevators. I pushed the button and waited. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. I opened it. I pulled out the yellow paper. The elevator light turned red. As the door slid open, I read the note. Contact Helen, room 1222. Mission, get the package. Eliminate contact agent. I folded the note and put it back in my coat pocket. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the 12th floor. The elevator door swished open and I stepped out and strolled down the red carpeted aisle. A maid, standing beside her car, looked pleasantly at me. I smiled at her. I wondered if she was good at her job. I stopped in front of door number 1222 and knocked on it. I waited. The door opened. A beautiful young woman stared at me. Helen? I asked. Yes. Read text, I said. Her eyes narrowed. Is to be studied, she said. May I come in? Yes. I stepped inside as she shut the door and brushed past me, taking my hand and leading me into the living room. I could smell her spiced perfume. Would you like a drink, Mr. Slade? Frank Slade. Mr. Slade? Sure, I said. I have whiskey or wine. Wine. She stepped inside the small kitchen, took out 2 wine glasses from a small cabinet, then opened a small refrigerator and pulled out a bottle of sangria. She poured the red wine into 2 elegant glasses and handed me one. I took a drink, enjoying its cool, intoxicating taste. I looked at Helen and wondered if I could do the job. She smiled at me, her blue eyes sparkling with curiosity and charm. Do you have the package? I asked. Yes, I'll get it. She turned around and sauntered toward the bedroom. I'll only be a minute. No rush. I have no place else to be, I said. As she headed toward the bedroom, I admired her perfect figure and the sheer lavender dress she wore, short and low cut, showing off her lovely shoulders and shapely dancer's legs. I walked over to the sliding glass door and opened it. I walked out onto the balcony. The air was crisp and cool. The sounds of traffic echoed below. I put my hands on the wall and looked down. 12 stories. A long drop. Admiring my view, I turned around and said, yes, it's stimulating. She smiled, giving me a sultry glance. Maybe you would like a closer look. Maybe, but first I need to see the package. She smiled and handed me a white envelope. I took out the disc. From my coat pocket, I pulled out a mini computer, booted it up, and slid in the disc. Then, on the miniature screen, photos and names appeared. Names of terrorist targets, all courtesy of the Russian spy network, all top secret information. At the top of the mini screen, showing in red lettering, was Helen, codename Troy. Your codename is Troy? Yes. I took out the disc, turned off the mini computer, and put it back in my coat pocket. I put the disc back inside the white envelope and slid it into my other coat pocket. Best assignment I've ever been given, I said. Why's that? She asked. Last year, the agency learned of a dirty agent selling CIA information to terrorist organizations around the world. Information that exposed the identities of 3 of our best foreign agents. One of those agents was Sarah, my wife. Before her execution, she managed to send me a message giving me the codename of the traitor. I stared at Helen and said, Troy. What? No, there's some mistake. Yeah, yours. I stepped forward and slapped her hard. She slammed against the wall and dropped to the floor. Standing up, she drew out a dagger and slashed it at me. I caught her wrist, twisted it, pulled up her arm, and made her drop the knife. Throwing her to the carpet, I grabbed her and dragged her outside to the patio. Please, don't, she pleaded. You made your choice, I said. You don't want to do this. I can get more secrets. I'm valuable to the CIA, to America. Bitch, my wife was tortured and killed because of you. I shot my palmed hand underneath her chin, throwing her back against the wall. Then I grabbed her and flipped her over the balcony. She screamed all the way down. I stepped back into the living room and pulled the glass door closed. My hands shaking, I wiped sweat off my forehead. I staggered forward while drawing a forged suicide note out of my coat pocket. I placed it on the living room table. I walked into the kitchen, picked up a bottle of whiskey, twisted the cap, and took a drink. I walked to the front door, opened it, and stepped out to the hallway. The maid was waiting patiently. It's done, I said. She went inside and shut the door. Everything would be cleaned and Helen's suicide confirmed. I headed back to the elevators, and as I did, I couldn't help but think that my wife had died safeguarding freedom. And in a way, so had Helen. Sometimes, it was a cruel endeavor protecting democracy.
A little bit of storytelling. What did I tell you about different types of performances? Now you